How do you go from being an unknown author to an authority without being famous? We want to talk about that on today's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Indie Author Pro Show. I am Ryan C. Greene, the founder of Indie Author Pro, and I am excited about today's episode. This won't be a real long show at all, but I want to share with you today the 4 easy ways to position yourself as an authority and promote your book. Listen, as an unknown author, which most authors are, you're unknown, you want to find a way to position yourself. How do you position yourself as an authority? How do you build your cachet and your brand? And there's 4 easy ways. Obviously, now that you've written your book, that kind of boosts your authority automatically. But now the question is, how do you get outside of your circle? How do you grow when no one really knows, when you're not famous, when you're not a celebrity writing a book? Now, how do you begin to position yourself as an authority so that when people see your book, they know that you are the real deal? So there's 4 easy ways, and I've done all of these, and they're easy for you to do, get started, and they don't cost a whole lot of money for any of them. And first and foremost is to, 1, start a podcast. Start a podcast. Our podcasts are now, easy to start. You can go and simply by recording content from your book, you can listen. A podcast, you can literally just read your book and break it down and chapter by chapter and make each chapter an episode of your book. Brendan Burchard, he's done that. For every book he releases as a podcast, he simply reads his books and on audios and releases them as a podcast. So releasing as a podcast is a great way to go ahead and position yourself as authority. Great way to expand your reach and in each podcast. What you're going to do is, while you're also sharing your content, you're promoting your book. You're telling people how to get in touch with you, how to buy your book. So building that podcast is going to also, now you're a media personality, you're a talk show host, so those are the kind of things that will add that authority to you, will build up your brand and build you as an authority. Number 2 is to start a YouTube channel. Here's a secret. You're watching this video on a YouTube channel. Did you subscribe, by the way? I don't know if I told you that earlier. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go ahead, click that button. Okay, did you click it? I don't know if you clicked. Oh, that tickled. I think you clicked it. Listen, you can start a YouTube channel. 15, 20 years ago, it was if you had a story you wanted to tell, it was nearly impossible to get it to the world without being on network television or having someone else behind you and back you. But now in 2020 and beyond, all you have to do is pick up your cell phone and record, and you can go and put up YouTube videos and start to build your own channel. And the content, if it's good enough, people will come, people will follow, people will continue to share it. And here's the thing, I'll speak for myself because I am one who is always a perfectionist. It's a negative trait of mine where I always feel like I've got to get everything perfect. When you're doing YouTube channels, when you're doing things like that, I found that sometimes it's the most ratchet looking stuff, the most unprofessional looking stuff. We'll use positive terms. It's the most authentic, the most homegrown looking stuff that seems to have the most success. So you can go out there and you can get your Hollywood production set up. If that's you, go and do that. But if you feel like, look, I'm just me, and I'm just gonna put on my camera, do that. That will win as well. So go out there and build your YouTube channel. Go out there and just provide that content and be consistent with it. One of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into with building YouTube channels or any kind of content, and why the people really shy away from this kind of stuff, is because they fall off. They don't stay consistent with the thing. So with anything, it's going to be it's easy to start, but it takes a lot of commitment to stick with it and really do it on a regular, consistent basis. So if you're going to start the channel, make sure that you have some content that you're going to go and really stick to it. Or you can do what's called a limited series. If you're going to do something, make it a limited series and call it that, so people know not to keep expecting more episodes. But even with that, you can take your book and read each chapter of your book as a video. Boom, upload those to YouTube, and you got yourself a YouTube show. It's that easy, but building that series now makes you a YouTube host. It makes you a television show host. You now host a web series. You see that now? So now you're not just an author. You're a talk show host. You host a web series. You host a podcast. And if you're doing number 3, you also now host webinars. Webinars is number 3. Listen, you can't get away from webinars. I'm sorry. I know in 2020 people are all zoomed out. Everyone is working from home and everyone is tired of Zoom. And that's great because what you're going to do is, you can still, webinars still matter, okay? You can still build a thriving business through webinars. And the most important thing about webinars is that once you can do live webinars, you can do recorded webinars, you can do webinars that are set up to play automatically when people register. We can have what's called ever webinars where they look live, but they're not live. So whatever it is, there's so many different ways that you can build webinars. But the webinars allow you to teach to a captive audience, allow you to teach to people who have registered to watch your information. So now you're gaining information from them. But also you're able to make offers as well. And webinars are great because when you're doing recorded webinars, it's the same presentation every time. You can have a bad day. You could be home sick with the COVID, honestly, but your webinar is not sick. Your webinar is still out there making your money and doing the presentation just like you were A1, right? So webinars are so important, but the thing about webinars is that, there's a lot of webinars that are out there. So you have to make sure that you stand out. Your marketing to get people to your webinars has to stand out. And the webinar itself, it's got to be good. It's got to be something that people are going to want to watch. It's got to provide real content, real value, not just be a long sales pitch, or not just be something that's not well done. It's got to be something that's really going to make it worth people's time so that they're going to want to watch the whole thing, move to action, and then also tell someone else about it, okay? That's the biggest thing is you want to help. You want people to refer you and tell other people about what you do. So don't give up on webinars. Don't let what's going on around you right now dictate best business practices. Webinars are not going anywhere. Make sure that you also set up that webinar to grow yourself and your authority. And then number 4, the fourth easy way to position yourself as an authority is to be a guest on other people's podcasts, other people's YouTube shows, and other people's webinars. Yes, being a guest writer for magazines or online publications, being a guest on a radio show, being a guest anywhere that you can go and share your message, getting on your local news shows, being a correspondent on blogs, on news shows, on TV shows. Those are the kind of things when you can position yourself as a guest, and now that means the host is already telling their audience, here's the expert right here. I'm bringing in the expert. That now just boosts your authority right there. And now you can go and tell all about your book. You can go and share your information and your content that way. So that's the fourth way, is to go out there and try to be a guest on someone else's stuff. It's cool to host, but it's also fun to be guest. When you're a guest, you get to shine. You get to go out there and have someone else edify you for you and promote you for you, and you just get to go out there and just do your thing. So don't shy away from sending out guest requests to be on other people's stuff as well. So those are the 4 essential elements, the four easy ways to position yourself as an authority and also promote your book. If you are interested in being a guest on an upcoming episode of the Indie Author Pro, hit us up at indieauthorpro.com. If you need help building your webinar, if you need help developing your podcast or your YouTube series, let us know. We can help you with that. That's what we do. We help independent authors maximize their profits by building all the elements of a successful business. So make sure that you hit us up about that. We can help you build what it is that you're looking to do and get your business in place to make sure that you are maximizing your revenues from your book. So I'm thankful for you watching. Definitely, leave some comments. Let us know how you like the show, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.